Courtney Clenney was soaring in success, boasting nearly 2 million Instagram followers, earning more than $3 million from OnlyFans, and enjoying various other lucrative income streams. She epitomized the successful, glamorous figure. However, on April 3, 2022, her world took a tragic turn. Whether intentional or not, her actions led to her boyfriend's death, leaving her empire shattered. Behind the glamorous facade of social media, darker truths about Courtney's life emerged. The spotlight on her behavior raised serious questions. Was Courtney truly responsible for Christian's death? What does the evidence reveal about her actions? And what lies ahead for her? But before giving you details of what happened, who really is Courtney Clenney? Courtney was born on April 21, 1996, in Midland, Texas, to parents Deborah and Kim. She had a typical upper-middle-class upbringing along with her sister Morgan. From a young age, Courtney was super active and athletic. By second grade, she was already into football, gymnastics, volleyball, diving, horseback riding, and more. The theater arts like drama and dance were also huge interests that she started studying at 13 years old. As she entered her high school years, exercise and fitness became even bigger priorities. Courtney got seriously into weightlifting and bodybuilding competitions. She was determined to have a fit, toned physique. College didn't really appeal to her, so she dropped out to fully pursue her fitness goals and growing social media presence. You see, Courtney realized that her workout pics and videos were hugely popular online. She consistently posted content, did interviews, and even landed in Playboy. Her Instagram following exploded to nearly 2 million followers. With that kind of visibility and audience, new money-making opportunities emerged. In 2016, the subscription platform OnlyFans launched, allowing creators to share racy photos and videos behind a paywall. For a confident, attention-loving young woman like Courtney, it was a no-brainer. Why not capitalize on her looks and rapidly growing fame? And that's exactly what she did. Courtney quickly became one of the top OnlyFans earners, making over $3 million in less than 3 years just on that platform alone. Sponsors, interviews, and other brand deals added even more income. From an outsider's view, Courtney Clenney seemed to have it all: money, success, fame, looks, and a supportive family. She was living the dream at her peak. The only thing missing was love. Obumseli seemed like the full package, the man Courtney had been looking for. Born on April 12, 1994, in Dallas, Texas, Toby grew up as a star athlete. He excelled at basketball and football. In his adult years, Toby was described as extremely compassionate and gentle. Toby had been investing in stocks from a very young age and was quite skilled at it. He then got into cryptocurrency trading as well. Between those two income streams, he had amassed a very comfortable living for himself. Toby fell hard for Courtney almost as soon as they met in Miami, and the feeling seemed to be mutual. Within weeks, they were madly, passionately in love. Friends noted the new couple seemed inseparable, always having fun and deeply infatuated in those beginning months. But it didn't last long. A few months in, the relationship took a dark turn. Toby, who was once full of positive energy, now appeared tense and distant. The reason? Toby's relationship with Courtney had become toxic and abusive. While they portrayed a picture-perfect couple online, Behind closed doors, they were locked in a passionate but volatile cycle of violence. And despite pleas from loved ones to seek help or take a break, the abuse only got worse. Early on, friends noticed troubling changes in Courtney's behavior as she became controlling and often exploded over minor issues. The situation got even worse when physical violence emerged. Initially, Courtney would hit Toby on the chest or shoulders, but her attacks became increasingly severe. As her career flourished, Toby became her personal assistant, a role that kept him constantly by her side, exposed to her unpredictable moods. Courtney was also struggling with alcohol and drugs. She was frequently seen at bars and clubs in Miami, and that just made it worse. Her substance issues were evident, with 2 DUIs and a 2021 incident in Las Vegas where she threw a glass at Toby during an argument. Despite Courtney's privileged background and social media success, her relationship was falling apart, consumed by anger, jealousy, and control over Toby, who had once been the center of her world. In the end, that obsessive need for control would lead to irreversible consequences neither of them could have imagined. Despite the clear signs of violence, they thought moving somewhere new might help their rocky relationship. Toby liked the idea of London, but Courtney wanted the lively scene in Miami. So, in January 2022, they moved from Austin to Miami, over 1,100 miles away. Courtney was earning a lot, enough to afford a fancy $10,000 a month apartment in Miami's upscale Edgewater neighborhood. They settled into a luxury 3-bedroom apartment on the 22nd floor with a great view of Biscayne Bay. Courtney loved showing off the apartment, often threatening to throw Toby out if he stepped out of line. Sadly, moving to Miami didn't improve Courtney's behavior. It simply worsened. She quickly became known in the local party scene, often out drinking and behaving aggressively. Courtney didn't hide her flaws. On the Weirdo in Miami podcast, she admitted to being toxic and said she hated being controlled. She even boasted about dating only rich black men. She acted like she could do anything she wanted without consequences.
To clarify, I only date rich
black
guys.
Rich black guys. There we go. Do you like to be fully controlled, or do you?
I like to be submissive. Yeah, in the bedroom.
Yes.
But like in my life, I don't like anybody to tell me what to do.
Toby, still trying to keep things smooth, stayed by her side as her assistant, even as her behavior diminished. Their relationship was a ticking time bomb, heading towards an inevitable and tragic end. Courtney's behavior was getting worse. She would yell at Toby, wreck their home and hotel rooms, and throw his stuff off the apartment balcony. One time, after she destroyed their Miami apartment, she told Toby to leave and threw his clothes out onto the street.
Inside or arrested before?
Yes.
For what?
DUI.
So, why am I here? What's going on?
My boyfriend and I just got into like a loud argument.
So you called once again for what? Why did you call for help?
Because we were getting really loud. And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna like do damage to the room or something. Not damage to each other. Like I really want to like.
But why would you think
that?
Why would you think that you were gonna do damage to the room?
I like throwing something or like.
Did you throw something?
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Did anybody throw anything?
No.
So why would you think that there is damage to the room to be made?
Because I've done that before in our house, and
What have you done?
Thrown a glass at him, plate.
Did you throw a glass or a plate at him today?
No.
Okay. So
This was before.
Okay, so when I go to the room and I see a broken glass on the floor, where did the glass come from?
I don't know. I literally couldn't even remember how the fight started.
A video from an elevator showed Courtney hitting Toby while he tried to hold her back. Despite everything, Toby was really upset, but still deeply in love with Courtney. After she calmed down from her tantrums, he would be the one to say sorry to her. Even though she was always blaming him for everything and treating him poorly, he still made sure to stand up for her whenever the police got involved. Toby wrote very sad messages about how he felt. In one, he said Courtney was both sweet and annoying, but he wouldn't trade her for the world. He wanted to be everything for her, her boyfriend, best friend, and life partner. In November 2021, during one of Courtney's outbursts, she ended up stabbing Toby in the leg. But in some recovered text messages, he's seen talking about how he still felt happy the next morning and how he took her to Vegas and partied just to make her happy, even though his leg was really hurting. In March 2022, just a few weeks before he died, Toby sent a worrying text wondering what would happen if he got hurt worse next time. Toby was stuck in a cycle of abuse, but he kept hoping things would get better because he loved Courtney so much. And sadly, his hope didn't save him in the end. In the last few rocky months together, Courtney and Toby broke up and got back together several times, but by March 2022, things hit a new low. They had just moved into a fancy apartment in Miami 2 months earlier, but the police were already familiar with their place. They had visited twice and had been called there 12 more times due to their fights. On April 2nd, the building's concierge had to call the police because of another big fight.
You didn't call.
I didn't. Nobody.
I called. You called. Okay.
What's going on?
Okay, hold on, man. Let him talk.
Okay.
Ma'am, hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The front desk personnel, this young lady, I was actually, with the other guy. She informed us that Miss Courtney, her boyfriend, was trying to get into the elevator with her, but she had her hands out like this. Okay. And she had her hands out like this, and she was like, "Oh no, don't come inside the elevator."
Okay.
So we asked her, I said, "Do you want him to leave the property?" She said no, she don't want him to
I
leave
did
the
not say
property.
that. I said yes.
Hold on.
No, but this. I
Hold
said
on. He's
Hold on,
talking,
man.
then you talk.
Let him speak.
Let him speak.
Nigga, your turn. Nigga, your turn.
Yes.
We were quiet when you were speaking. Why not?
I say, "Are you certain for sure, do you want him to leave?" "Oh, no. And then I just said, enough is enough. Police need to be called." She said she don't want police to be called.
Okay.
Although Courtney didn't want the police involved at first, she quickly changed her mind when they showed up, trying to convince them to give her a restraining order against Toby.
All right. So what do you want to say?
I want a restraining order against Christian Obumseli.
We don't issue those.
Because
Those
no,
just
I'm
go to
serious.
courts.
Can I do that?
You
Where
have to
can
go
I?
to court. You have to go to
Okay, but
downtown
how
or
can
make
I
a
make
petition.
myself first?
Who's on the phone with you?
Just my dad.
Okay. Well, let me
Which I think is
let me
reasonable.
let me explain to you something with your dad on the phone, so you could hear me. You asked me, how can I get a restraining order against him? I answer you, we don't issue those. That's through court. You asked me, I need to get one before him. I told you, the only way is for you to get to court. Then you asked me, is he on the way already? And I asked you, I didn't even know how he looks like. You understand? It's your questions that are making much of an.
I am.
The body cam footage from the police showed Courtney acting very upset and trying hard to make Toby look like the bad guy. Her actions were a big warning sign of her possible violence and her struggle to stay honest when under pressure. By now, Courtney and Toby's toxic relationship was known to everyone around them, authorities, staff, and neighbors. It was obvious that things couldn't go on like this. We don't know what Toby thought after their fight on April 2nd, but Courtney said they got back together just hours later. The very next day, April 3rd, 2022, the police were called to their apartment again. This time, what happened was tragic and irreversible. At 4:57 p.m., Courtney made a panicked 911 call.
City is going out with the line here. Operator Joe, what is the address of your emergency? City event, please.
3101.
It's 1:30, so 1:30. Ma'am, listen to me. You need to stop screaming on the line and give me the address. 3101. I can't feel my arm. 3101. I can't feel my arm. Ma'am, so my boyfriend is dying of a stab. Ma'am, what is the address? What's the address? 3131. 3131 Northeast 7th Ave. Please, God, please. Come see my boyfriend. Ma'am, is this a house apartment or a business? 127453582. Is this a house apartment or a business? Baby, I'm so sorry. Baby. Ma'am, can you hear me? If you have a stab wound to his shoulder, can you sit down? What do you mean he has a stab wound on his shoulder, ma'am? Yes, he's bleeding from his shoulder. Rescue, this is PD physician Julia. To call it. Ma'am, hold on one moment.
When the police and paramedics arrived at their apartment, they found a dreadful scene. Toby had been stabbed in the chest and was bleeding heavily.
Courtney! Just keep him sitting up here. Leave Courtney, listen to me. Get up. Get up, come on. You gotta get the dogs in. Okay. Get up. Please, go. Please, listen. Get him up. Get up right now. You can drop it on the floor. I'll help him out. Get up. Oh, no. No, I can't. Get up. I can't let this, okay? It's back. Wait, it wasn't me. Guys,
Relax.
Why? No, guys.
Relax.
Boss, what's going on? Wait. Hey, you good? What do you have?
Relax.
I'm gonna help you. What's his name? Daddy will be back. What is his name? What is his name? Christian Obumseli.
What's his name?
Christian Obumseli. Christian Obumseli. Please.
Listen, sit down. Do me a favor, sit down. Do not
Why
move.
are you yelling at me?
Do not move.
Why are you yelling at me?
Do not move, sit down.
Okay,
we don't know what's going on. We don't know what happened.
I'm terrified
So
for him.
right now, don't worry. They're helping him. So just sit down. Don't move.
Police found Toby in Courtney's arms, with blood all over the apartment, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, and living room. This showed he had been bleeding for a while before help came. Toby was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Courtney, who admitted to stabbing him, was taken to the police station for questioning. She spoke to investigators for over 4 hours without a lawyer. During the interrogation, Courtney was visibly shaken and confused, trying to explain the violent events that nearly killed her boyfriend. Her behavior made it clear that something terrible had happened that day, pushing her to a point of no return.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer or for advice before we ask any questions.
Because I realized, how very serious this is. I was sitting there in a freaking puddle of my boyfriend's blood, begging him to, please not, fucking give up on me. This shit is fucking serious. So, I don't think I'm necessarily in trouble, but, I just would like to... Can I just talk to him? This happened, and I was...
According to Courtney, she and Toby had patched things up after their recent fight. The next day, April 3rd, started off calmly. Toby went for a walk around 1:15 p.m. to clear his head. Courtney said she spent the afternoon talking to her mom on the phone, doing laundry, and watching crime videos on YouTube. She even did a half-hour live session on Instagram, which ended at 4:33 p.m., right when Toby came back with a Subway sandwich.
The Subway thing. He comes back. I asked him about his location. Said he'll change it. Asked me about mine. I said something mean or unnecessary about, even though I wasn't anywhere, saying something like, oh, well, you wouldn't want to know. Something like that. And he ended up getting upset. And that's kind of where I'm from there. I mean, it's the wall. don't remember exactly where it went from there. And I was on the floor. Let me go. I called my mom.
But then trouble started again. Courtney was upset because Toby had stopped sharing his location with her through the Find My Friends app, which she really insisted on using. While some people share locations to feel safe, Courtney seemed to use it to keep tabs on Toby. Toby turned his location sharing back on, but Courtney wouldn't share hers. She claimed that Toby then grabbed her by the neck and pushed her to the floor. After she called her mom, Toby supposedly got even angrier and charged at her. At that moment, Courtney said she grabbed a kitchen knife for protection, yelling, "Don't come any closer." When Toby didn't stop, she claimed to have thrown the knife from about 10 feet away, hitting him in the chest. Toby was the only other person there, so we'll never hear his side of the story.
So he had you against the wall, he was holding by the neck, right?
Yes.
And then he let you go, you start swinging at him, and then he ends up putting you on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
I don't not think that this was. I don't know. I really don't know if this is justified at all. I actually don't know.
Well, that's what
I really don't know because I know I was scared, but I really don't know.
So you grabbed the knife.
Because I grabbed a knife. I grabbed a knife and I said, like, pretty much just like, don't get any closer to me. And then came at me, said something, came at me, and then I just like threw it. And I really.
How exactly did you throw it? Did you just throw like that?
How many times?
No. How exactly did you throw it? Like you threw it like this, or kind of like flung it at him, overhead, or how did that?
Oh, I just flung it.
You just flung it over your head, or from
like this.
Okay. So from like beside your head.
Holding it, yeah. So not like like I'm holding it like this. This is not the knife. The
blade to it.
Right, the blade.
Okay.
I'm not. I for dang sure did not stab him. That would be insane. I mean, I didn't even think that this would touch him. But I mean, I thought that I would scare him. I would scare him by just grabbing it. I thought I would scare him by just grabbing it, but that didn't work. So, anyway, comes at me and then I just flung it.
Courtney's actions after the incident were questionable. Instead of immediately calling emergency services, she decided to call her mother first. If her story is true, then 14 crucial minutes ticked by as Toby lay bleeding before she finally dialed 911. Now 24 hours later in that interrogation room, Courtney seemed to be downplaying the severity of the situation yet again. It wasn't the first time she had shifted her tone and version of events, previously doing so during her arrest in Las Vegas as well. The haunting interrogation footage captures the horror in Courtney's voice when, around 2 hours into the questioning, she is informed that Toby tragically did not survive his injury.
So we have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay. Unfortunately, the doctors did what they could. And
Christian is dead.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is not real, right? Okay. There's no fucking way. Christian died? Can I please have a hug? Am I allowed to do that in here?
Sure. Yeah.
Relax. You'll be fine.
No.
Calm down.
Despite the urgent medical response, he passed away around 5 p.m. that evening at the hospital from the stab wound and immense blood loss. Whether it was the delay in calling 911, her constantly changing explanations, or the final act of deadly violence itself, Courtney's behavior led to the tragedy of Toby's life that day in April. The tragic news of Christian Obumseli's sudden, violent death left his friends and family devastated, and when Courtney Clenney's name was attached as the cause, outrage quickly spread. In the immediate aftermath, Courtney was voluntarily admitted to a psychiatric ward for evaluation under Florida's Baker Act, which provides emergency mental health services. However, this proved merely a brief formality. Just 2 days later, she was released back into the world. Stunningly, investigators had already determined the fatal incident was simply a case of self-defense on Courtney's part against Christian. Their conclusion came within 24 hours of arriving at the bloody crime scene, despite overwhelming evidence that contradicted Courtney's versions of events. To Christian's loved ones, it seemed like a privilege that Courtney, a young, beautiful white woman, so swiftly avoided prosecution. As they grieved, Courtney seemed to return to her old partying ways, including drinking sessions with her father caught on camera.
I'll videotape her. Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, cool.
Christian's family immediately lawyered up, determined to seek the justice they felt was so clearly obstructed. Their legal team took one look at the evidence of the couple's long, documented cycle of abuse and realized Christian was almost certainly the victim, not the aggressor. However, building that airtight case would take extensive time and resources. A GoFundMe campaign helped cover Christian's funeral costs as his shattered family prepared for the long, grueling legal battle ahead. Meanwhile, just 2 months after his death, Courtney used $1.4 million of her wealth to purchase a luxurious 3,000 square foot home in Texas near her parents. She even wired her father $1.2 million more for safekeeping. The shocking extravagance just weeks after her involvement in Christian's killing showed a lack of remorse. If anything, Courtney's self-destructive habits like drinking and partying only intensified in the aftermath. Despite Courtney's temporary release, the investigation into the incident did not end. The Miami Police Department and the State Attorney's Office embarked on a lengthy and meticulous investigation, gathering evidence and building their case against Courtney. Finally, on August 10, 2022, 4 months after Toby's death, Courtney was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutors said it took time to gather enough evidence to prove she was responsible. The evidence they found was disturbing. There was a video from the elevator showing Courtney attacking Toby. There were also sad letters, recordings, and texts Toby left behind, showing how she abused him and his hope that she would change. They found over 12,000 texts between them, showing how bad their relationship was. They also brought up a previous incident in Las Vegas where Courtney was charged with hurting Toby. There were reports of her hurting other partners before Toby too. Some friends who saw them together said Courtney was always starting fights, while Toby tried to calm her down. But the worst evidence was from the medical examiner's report. It didn't match Courtney's story of self-defense. The report said Toby's wound could only have been caused by a close-range, intentional stab to his chest. Sadly, the stab hit an artery and killed Toby. The examiner said it was definitely a murder, not self-defense. The charges against Courtney alleged that the stabbing was not an act of self-defense, but rather a case of second-degree murder. Prosecutors have argued that the couple had an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship, and that Toby was the victim of domestic violence at the hands of Courtney. Meanwhile, Courtney Clenney's legal team, led by her lawyer, Frank Prieto, has presented a narrative that paints Courtney as a survivor of domestic violence who acted in self-defense. According to her lawyer, Courtney admits to killing Christian Obumseli, her boyfriend, but she claims this was a necessary action to protect herself. Furthermore, Prieto alleges that Toby had attempted to choke Courtney, and that is why she ultimately stabbed him. Toby's family denies any abuse claims, insisting that he never hurt his girlfriend. They say Courtney was the one who started fights and got violent. They also believe she's getting special treatment from the police just because she's white. Larry Hanfield, the lawyer for Obumseli's family, says detectives didn't take them seriously because they're black. He says the police closed the case within a day of Toby's death. But after Hanfield talked to the state's attorney, the police agreed to look into it more. As the case goes on, friends and others who knew Toby and Courtney have spoken up, and this has since become a high-profile legal battle that is still unfolding. Courtney's being held in jail without bail at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center until her next court date. Her lawyers are still trying to prove she's not guilty. What's your take on this case? Do you believe Courtney was acting in self-defense, or was she the primary aggressor in her relationship with Obumseli? Share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments below. Stay tuned for more updates as this case unfolds. Until next time.